That was just a few hours ago. Powerful monsoon storms tearing through the valley tonight, cutting power to thousands of people and taking down trees just like that one.
And this is the scene in downtown Phoenix earlier this evening. Dust swallowing up the buildings, rain pouring down. This storm made its way from southern Arizona all the way into the heart of Metro Phoenix. This is 12 News at 10. I'm Troy Hayden.
I'm Mark Curtis. Thanks for joining us tonight. This Sky 12 video behind us is where the storm started, south of Santan Valley at around 6 o'clock. And it slowly made its way up I-10 into the Metro Phoenix area.
And when it hit with a bang. We have team coverage for you tonight. Lindsay Riley is tracking the radar. Sean Rice out in our weather tracker. But let's start with Gabriela Becerra. And right now, you're in an area I can see behind you. Still no power, Gabby, knocked out by this storm.
That's right, Troy. This neighborhood has been in the dark and without power now for several hours. You can see why behind me. This power line collapsed during the storm, and we can see that wire hanging down there into the road and through a puddle of water. Those Phoenix police officers have been blocking the road here, trying to make sure situations like this, keeping people from driving through this area and driving over that wire. People living here tell me strong winds and heavy rain blew through here around 6:30 and 7 o'clock tonight. One woman tells me the winds were so strong it caused those wires to touch, and that's what sparked the outage. She has video of the small explosion. Take a listen.
Well, we were inside the house. We heard a lot of thunderstorm, and we heard an explosion in the back of our house, and we came out, and all the transformers just started blowing up one by one, and the cables.
Tell me what you saw with these cables.
They touched each other, and they made an explosion, and everybody lost power.
And you can see those sparks flying off of those lines after that small explosion. That woman said she had been sitting on her porch in the rain tonight because it was cooler than sitting inside of her house, which she said was starting to get warm without the power. But we're tracking outages valley-wide. Right now, APS is reporting about 24 outages with nearly 4,500 customers affected. SRP is reporting outages affecting more than 10,000 customers, and most of those customers are expected to have their power restored by midnight. But back out here, this neighborhood is waiting very patiently to see when their power will get turned back on. We know crews are already out on the road starting to make those repairs. We saw one crew that was just down the road near 38th Street and McDowell working on some problem that happened over there. And the issues are really affecting a lot of businesses in the area as well. We just went down the road trying to go to a gas station, completely in the dark there, along with some of the stoplights. So if you're out on the roads tonight, be really careful and make sure you avoid any of road closures like this one, because you really don't want to drive through any of these live wires. But we're live in Phoenix tonight. Gabriela Becerra at 12 News.
And really, hats off to those APS crews. They do 24 hours a day.
They're out there making it
working
happen.
to get that power back on.
And even though it says right now it's 84 degrees out there, I'm sure it's sticky, and those are people who have no AC.
No
now.
AC, right? Yeah.
Tough.
All right, Gabby, nice job today. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby.
Let's continue our coverage. We want to show you some video of the heavy rain this storm produced. This was near the Loop 202 and Higley Road.
And the amazing thing about this is this was about an hour to an hour and a half after the storm first blew through. So that's how long it was raining in some parts of the valley, which you don't see that very often, especially in the summer. 12 News journalist Sean Rice has been tracking the storm. And Sean, it all started with you with a little dust storm south of the valley. And boy, did it work into a good-sized storm.
Yeah, I feel like we've tracked every part of this storm here in the 12 News weather tracker this evening. At about 5 o'clock, we initially met the dust in Pinal County. We were in the Florence and Coolidge areas, and we were tracing, and really we're inside this dust storm as it was developing, picking up a lot of that dust in the agricultural fields in Pinal County as it made its way to the valley. We eventually made our way 10 to 15 miles south of the valley, right on Interstate 10. We got out of the car, and I want to show you some video of what it felt like and what we saw as that dust storm was approaching, and what it felt like to initially have that dust storm hit us. Take a look. There we go. I mean, this right here is when visibility gets really low. I mean, take a look at this. Yeah, it got very low there for a minute, and then it opens up. So right now it's not bad, but it's moving west. I mean, here it comes again. You can just see as you're driving in it, all of a sudden it picks up and it gets more difficult. And so that was us driving on I-10. We followed that dust storm all the way into the valley. I would say it hit parts of Ahwatukee, Chandler, Gilbert areas at about 6:30 is when I would estimate. And then that was followed by some pretty significant rainfall. Where we traveled next was to 30th Street and Thomas here in Phoenix. And I want to show you some video of what a parking lot looked like at 8:30. There was so much rain accumulation in that area that we were actually able to step foot in a parking lot, a Fry's parking lot, water up above my ankles. Take a look at that video. Give me a second. I'll give you an idea of how deep this is. A little past my ankle at this point. Yeah, so what you're looking at here is video of me stepping foot in a parking lot where it was just completely ponded out. I mean, there was some flooding there, but it wasn't in any of the roadways, so people were still able to drive throughout that area, thankfully. So everybody tonight has taken it very slow through some very damp roadways. Some such fortunate rainfall. I mean, we've gone 105 days now without a trace of rainfall. So it was where I think we're just very fortunate to get the rainfall that we saw tonight. If we can come back out here live, I'll give you an idea of what the roads look like. We are at 7th Street and McDowell, just north of downtown Phoenix. Some very damp roadways, a little bit of a light drizzle, but it feels as though the majority of the rainfall has passed through the valley. We'll send it back to you guys.
Sean, here's the important question. Were you able to get some dry socks?
I still have the same socks on. I can't wait to get home and get some fresh ones.
That's some soggy feet tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, taking one for the team, Sean. Appreciate it.
Nice job. All right,
good work
thanks.
out there.
Well, today's storm caused big problems at Sky Harbor. This is video from our weather tracker that was parked just outside the airport fence. You can see how heavy the rain was coming down. There was lightning, which you may or may not see in this video. They had dust. Anyway, all of it together created cancellations. Right now, the FAA says flights headed to Phoenix are experiencing an average delay of an hour and a half.
Yeah, so keep that in mind
There's
if you're expecting somebody. Yeah, you see the lightning right there. All right, Lindsay Riley, meteorologist, joins us now, and you were tracking this thing all the way through, and it was interesting because a lot of times these storms come in right to the valley and just kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
This one didn't, and it just kind of parked over
did.
parts of the valley.
Yeah, it moved very slowly. Even the dust storm today, it was only moving at about 25 miles per hour. So everything was slow moving from the dust to the rain. We still do have some very light shower activity across the valley. So the worst is over. We're not expecting any additional major rain accumulation overnight or any additional dust or anything like that. So things are really winding down for today. As you can see, a little bit of shower activity here and there, more along the lines of drizzle. A little bit heavier up toward Mojave and Yavapai County and even La Paz County. Still seeing a few thunderstorms as of 10:09. Southeastern Arizona closer to Wilcox and Safford, still seeing a few showers, but generally speaking, this is going to continue to wind down during the overnight, and we're going to do it all over again tomorrow. However, not so fast in the Phoenix metro. Here's a look at the hour by hour tomorrow. You can see a very small chance late afternoon, early evening on the order of 20%. Pretty much the entire valley today did see some shower activity, and when that happens, it's hard to get 2 days in a row. The atmosphere is a little bit overworked. So we'll have another shot later in the week. Just a small chance tomorrow in the valley. Up in Flagstaff, 4 to 6 p.m. That's when we peak tomorrow at about a 40% chance for a few showers and thunderstorms. And further east in Show Low by 2 p.m., a little bit earlier in the afternoon, 50%, peaking at 60% coverage by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We have 6s on the monsoon meter, north and east, only a 2 here in the valley. Pretty low chance for the valley tomorrow, but that does increase, a significant increase, in fact. Later in the week, we'll talk more about those weather impact alert days heading our way in my full forecast. Mark.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. As we continue to track monsoon storms, now's a good time to scan the QR code on your screen and download the 12 News app on your TV or your phone. That's where you can find the latest forecasts and up-to-date information that streams 24 hours a day.
All right.